I'm the founder of Empowered Clothing. I'm dedicated to empower women entrepreneurs by sharing tools, tips, and resources through leadership, mindset, and more on my show, Finding Your Way with Sally. Hello, everyone. Yes, I am Sally, and I'm a content creator and founder of Empowered Clothing. I share authentic and everyday issues for women over 50. So you can learn more about my fashion products and services at empoweredclothing.com.au. So today I'm very excited to be chatting with our special guest. And our topic today is how to clear your past to create your future with Doctor of Divinity, spiritual healer, leader, author, and coach, Dr. Joy Pedersen. So before I bring up Dr. Joy, I'll just like to link it all in with my clothing range, because I've developed a clothing range, a chakra range of clothing, which you can see the colors there on the screen. They're all made out of bamboo, but it's around the ethos of where your attention goes, your energy flows. And we have a beautiful range of long sleeve and racerback tops, and they all have empowering affirmations on the front. They all come with little healing crystals and little cards to help you like get into the energy of it all, because in this day and age everything is energy, and it just can transform our lives when we're working with it effectively. So without further ado, let me just bring up Dr. Joy. As I'm bringing her up, I'll just read out her little bio. So Dr. Joy Pedersen founded Express Success in 1981 while working in Hollywood. She serves an international clientele, identifying and releasing the hidden causes of challenges negatively affecting business, money, relationships, mindset, health, and well-being. Well, fantastic. She has specialties in clearing darkness, past lives, trauma, and travel. Oh my gosh, right up my alley. So Dr. Joy is an international best-selling author who also has channels and shares messages from God, angels, and ascended masters. She's a Doctor of Divinity and a licensed spiritual healer and coach. Designated World Mother, she works directly with Source as a global healer and leader. She was named Business Spiritual Healing Specialist for 2023. Well, I am so grateful to have you here. I am so in awe of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Goodness me. So you've brought along an empowerment share today. I wanted to help people overcome struggles. So I taught the law of attraction and found we all had inconsistent results applying the same techniques. I realized there are blocks within us, which led me to look for a solution. I was introduced to spiritual healing, which helped identify and release the hidden causes of our challenges. Wow, right up my alley. Would you like to expand on that and a bit of your journey there?
Yeah, so when I was working at Paramount Studios, people were calling me to network, and when I was chatting with them to find out what their struggles were, what they wanted to do, I learned a lot of them hadn't made friends yet. LA is a very transient city, and so many of them were struggling even to have a center right there, not only to get a job, but find friends. And it really was the thing that caused me to go look for a solution, because it wasn't that difficult for me. And I didn't have any connections in Hollywood at the time when I broke in. But I learned what happened was I didn't have the limiting belief that it was supposed to be difficult. I just decided to do it, and I did it. So I didn't have that baggage within. But I really didn't understand the subconscious at the time until I realized that all of us were lacking in something. We would apply these typical techniques, and we would get consistent results. So I looked for another solution, and that's when I was introduced to really the subconscious and understanding that was the memory bank and computer. And when accessing the subconscious, we could figure out where those blocks were coming from, because if your subconscious is not congruent with the conscious mind, you're going to have inconsistent results. I since learned, however, that it's also really with your superconscious, your team on the other side and source. Yeah. If they're not all congruent with the goals that you have, and when you think about it, we all came to Earth with an agenda. We might not have been consciously aware of what that was or is, but if your team wants to take you in one direction and you're not ready, willing, or able to go, there's a conflict. So a friend of mine calls it the spiritual 2x4. So you might be taken off track if you're not going in the direction which is really to fulfill your purpose. And that's another thing that I learned in trying to help people succeed is, what are you trying to succeed at? Man's goals or what you came here for? Yeah. So if you're at odds with your own spiritual goals, you may be, you want the nice shiny objects. And I understand that you want to be comfortable in this life. This doesn't mean following the spiritual path doesn't let you be comfortable. But if you're at odds with anything in your inner family, the superconscious, conscious, the subconscious, you'll have a conflict or challenge getting to what you want with ease.
Yeah, it can be so confronting because the inner you is guiding you here, but your logical mind is saying, no, no, no. And it's just that, it's like a Chinese burn. You're being pulled in both ways. And I know
Right.
working with people, and it's when you have that sort of light bulb moment, oh, aha, it's all from the inside. It's not all this outside stuff. And it's just, it can make you feel sick because it's like, but that doesn't make sense, and it doesn't feel right, like with what you're doing. But, logically you think you should be doing it. Like you say, the bright and shiny objects, I've got to be doing this and it's money, money, money. And it's not that. It's just like, and you've been doing this for a very long time. How did you fall into it? I was just
Well, when I was a little kid, I was told I was going to be here for the end of the world as we knew it, and I wasn't going to die this lifetime. And I thought, well, that's a relief. But I thought maybe I could ascend. I didn't think I might be killed. But when you do this kind of work, you often are persecuted in other lifetimes, and it turned out to be one of my specialties. But it wasn't until Archangel Michael appeared before me in 2004 and asked me to join him in a healing practice. And also he asked me to do this book, Wisdom of the Guardian. And it was easy to do the book because I'd been channeling angels and others for 10 years, but I didn't want to tell anybody I could talk to angels because I had past life persecution issues, and I had to clear like 8 lifetimes before I could tell anybody about my book. And then I came out to my business network and I sheepishly told them that I'm guided to go in another direction. And what surprised me is people hired me. I thought they were all going to go away. and that started my practice. But the funny thing was, I didn't know I could read other people's past lives until I started the work.
Yeah.
And that's been fascinating and telling ever since, because I often read somebody's past life and they say, oh, I still feel that way, or I still think that way. And their patterns are continuing. So we try to clear it in another life so they're set free in this one.
Yeah, and it totally makes sense that you have things that you just don't quite understand in this lifetime. Like, for example, I have a lot of neck issues. And then when I did a lot of the past life stuff, I was hung a number of times. So, it makes sense. And people that are scared of fire or have issues with fire, burned at the stake. I mean, this stuff is real and it's not woo-woo anymore. This is why I love these shows, because we can talk about this in a practical way. Like, it's a lot of this stuff is proven by science anyway with the areas that we work in. So what was the name of your book? Wisdom of the
Guardian, Treasures from Archangel Michael to Change Your Life.
Oh, I'm just so in awe of you working with Archangel Michael. Have you had anything to do with fairies? I work with the fairies a little bit.
Well, I have a client who has fairies, and I used to channel her fairies. She would always ask me about her fairies at the same time we were doing a session, and they were always fun. I could see them, and when she was moving, they came with her, and they planned ahead of time, and they're really fun. They can be a lot of fun. Yeah, I can see all sorts of things, and it depends on the client what really comes through them, because not everyone has a connection to the fairy kingdom.
Yeah, and I think people, once we realize that there's so much support out there, like there's ascended masters, there's angels, there's guides, there's dragons, we do, and we all have like our own little off-world mentors, there's so much support when we're open to it. Just open our mind to unlimited opportunities and possibilities, and it's there, just tapping into that and going, it's not an isolated journey. There is support for us along the way.
Enormous support.
Enormous. Now, this leads into your beautiful expert tip that you brought along. Wisdom comes in whispers. Following one's intuition can open doors. Receiving direct guidance from source opens more doors and avoids lesser outcomes. Would you like to expand on that?
Well, first of all, I think the magic in life is learning to go within. And the deeper you're able to go in, that's where the magic happens. That's where you learn and connect with the other side with ease. And when you ask source, or at least get to your guides and ask them, do I buy this? Do I go out with this person? All your day-to-day issues, and get those answers, you can be led and guided into the perfect and right situations. Now, they don't always turn out perfect
Yeah.
because this still is organic here. And you have people who have free will and may choose something else that will influence an outcome. But at least when you're asking for the highest and best, and source will tell you that in that moment, you have a better chance, and you save time and money. You don't create karma like you would have if you've, you know, did things on your own, which could be a crapshoot. When
Yeah.
you ask their side, they give you the bigger picture. It's wonderful. It's a great resource.
Oh, absolutely. I always say it's an inside job. Everything's an inside job. And once you get your head around it, it's quite straightforward. And I love how you help people, personalize each of their blocks, because everybody's blocks are different, right? And
Mhm.
I think that's when we were saying, when you were working with the law of attraction, is that, it's not one size fits all, right? It's just, we've got to work with yourself. And that's when you go within, you understand what your barriers are and your obstacles, and you can break through them, but it takes work. You have to be committed. And doesn't happen overnight. It's a work in progress, that's for sure. So I've actually brought along an empowerment share today too, saying that you are the master creator of your life. You can choose to manifest and materialize the life of your dreams when you break free and break through the barriers holding you back, which is very much in line with what we were just saying. You can't change what you don't know, which is actually linking into my tip. My tip is to live in the present moment, have conscious awareness of your blocks, because you can't change what you don't know. When we're going around living blind, you don't realize what's going on or simmering underneath and what it is that's blocking you. So once you have that light bulb moment, then things can start to fall into place. And like you were saying before, one of my tips is trust that niggle inside. That's your internal GPS. I call it following the energy, following that guidance within me. It's the only way to live, hey? So, it's so much easier when you go inside to get that guidance, because you get it, overcome that, the head that gets in, that little voice that you were saying. And as you said, the subconscious is just mucking around with us. I think it's about 10% of our conscious mind, isn't it, that we're consciously aware of, and all the rest is under the water, if you like. It's like the tip of the iceberg, and all the other stuff is right under there. That's like sort of causing us grief in many ways, and it's causing our blocks.
Well, the thing you mentioned also about the subconscious and manifesting is what's so key is the subconscious is the part of you that manifests. We use our will, and we're forcing ourselves to try to accomplish something, but it's really the subconscious that's going to be the manifester.
Yeah, absolutely. Which reminds me, hang on, I'm just going to grab something. So I do Bling Angel card readings, and each of the decks of cards has a different sort of vibe or feel to it. And belief deck, I just thought I'd grab that one, because our beliefs can either keep us small or help us grow tall, because it's those limiting beliefs that are stuck in there, stuck in our subconscious or unconscious, of like, I didn't even realize so many of them are formed in childhood, and we've just carried them along, not even reviewing them. So I thought we'd just come and pull a card and let's see what comes up today. So I'll just shuffle it away. It's so interesting what messages you get, because you never pick a wrong card, and it's always very insightful. So this card says, what does it say? Am I listening to my heart's desires? Ooh. So what does that mean to you? What vibe do you get out of that? Am I listening to my heart's desires?
Well, first of all, I think the heart is so key, because it's like the chamber that connects you to all that is. So when you connect with your heart, first of all, you're relating to people in a whole other way. And you're also being able to access what's within your heart and your divine guidance with more ease. So then you can be divinely inspired with more ease when you're in the moment, as you said earlier, when you're in that present moment.
Yeah.
And then you're in your heart, you can be led and guided to what is highest and best with ease. and you have all that support.
You're so eloquent. It's absolutely, that's so beautiful, because the heart's, it feels right. And the heart it should be full of joy, which joy is an acronym, the journey of yours, rather than feeling the burden of life. We want to feel the love, express that heart chakra, roll your shoulders back and open up your heart. Allow love in for yourself, first of all. That's most importantly, but allowing love in from others as well. Well, Dr. Joy Pedersen, thank you so much for joining us today. We could chat forever. So I've got on the screen here to contact Dr. Joy. You can go to joypedersen.com or joy@expresssuccess.net. So I absolutely have loved chatting with you today. I'm very grateful for you to take the time to be here, and look forward to catching up with you down the track.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It was great meeting you and chatting with you.
Great. Awesome. Well, I'm just going to pop you down into the green room as we just close up here. I'll just drop you down. I'm always a bit clunky on this thing. There we go. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. You can join me for another episode of Finding Your Way with Sally Estlin next Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, and Thursday at 8 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. And I was just so grateful to have that chat with Dr. Joy. I love like-minded people. This is what this show is all about, talking about real and authentic issues that need to be discussed. So without further ado, I'll just close up here. I look forward to seeing you all next week, and have a great week. Alrighty, see you later. You can learn more about my services and products at sallyestlin.com. Make sure to join me every week for a new episode on the SWE Media Network YouTube channel and wherever you listen to podcasts.